Good morning, and thank you for coming on our Business Owner Spotlight this week. Would you like to go ahead, introduce yourself, and tell us all a bit about what you do?
Okay, my name is Peter Carmichael, and I am the managing director here at NI Driving School. So I am.
And tell us a bit more about that. NI Driving School, are you guys across the whole province or a bit more locally based than that?
We are the fastest growing driving school, and if not the biggest driving school, we're one of the biggest driving schools in the country at the moment. So we are, and we've expanded massively in the last couple of years. We cover from Derry/Londonderry, Belfast, all the way down to the Newry area, and everywhere in between as well.
Fantastic. And I mean, no, a normal question I would ask would be Peter, like who's your ideal customer? Who would you want to hear this? It's probably fairly obvious in your case. But what maybe a better question is what makes you guys? Why are you the fastest growing? What sets you apart?
Because we understand our customers' goals, I guess,
Okay.
you know, when people come to learn how to drive, their goal is to get through and get their driving test and get on the road as soon as possible. And that's something we pride ourselves on is giving high quality tuition um, to those people and taking them through that process as quickly and cost effectively as possible. And I think that that just shows in the results that we've received over the last couple of years.
Yeah, so that's interesting. So you focus on not just like doing the do. You're really focused on getting them what they want. And would some people have a slightly different goal than that? Do some people want to go faster than others, or is it slightly
It,
different for some people?
it's always slightly different. Everybody has that end goal of becoming
Sure.
a driver and getting on the road. Now their goals will differ from possible job opportunities
Okay.
to freedom, just general young freedom, to be on the roads. And a lot of people have really great and interesting stories about maybe a young family and their kids are just getting to that age where they need to
Yeah,
be
yeah,
mobile and be able to get about. And there's others then who need it for work, and there's just such a variety of stories, and it's really, really interesting. But everybody's goal at the end of the day is to get on the road safely and as quick as possible. And we are there doing our best every single day, developing, training, trying to be the best that we can possibly be and deliver the best quality lessons. So that's our main focus is the high level of training that we give to all our instructors and making sure that they're delivering the best possible lessons. So that ultimately then relates to helping people achieve their goals quicker of being on the road.
I think that's really cool what you said there. It's so everybody has the same goal. Obviously, they want to become a driver or they want to become a driver, but you're tapping into why each individual person wants to have that goal, which I think is really important and putting the customer right at the forefront of what you're doing.
It is. It's also really interesting from a selfish point of view of listening to people's stories and then using that to motivate our drivers to get them to help
Yeah,
these people quicker. I always remember when I used to be a driving instructor. I remember a story of a young lady who had a child who had a disability, and he
sure.
was very young, and she had told me the very first time she got into the car about she has to feed her newborn at a
Yeah,
bus stop because she has so many medical appointments to go to
sure.
every single day. And that was something that always stuck with me because that really sharpened my focus on helping her achieve her goal as soon as possible because I never wanted to see a young mother sitting at a bus stop in the rain in Northern Ireland feeding her newborn, getting ready to get to the hospital appointment for the next checkup or for whatever. Uh,
Yeah, yeah.
that was something that really motivated me, and that was one of the stories that always stuck with me. Is people's stories are so interesting, and I just want to help as many
Yeah,
people
but I mean,
as
it's
possible.
like, you're actually having a massive impact on people's lives there. Like, imagine if they change the bus timetable and then you can't go to work anymore.
Yeah, well, it was just heartbreaking when this girl was telling the story, and she was genuine, and she was telling me about this, and I was just wow. I need to get you on the road. I
Yeah,
need to get you so you can get to these appointments in half an hour, 20 minutes instead of a 2 hour
yeah,
journey
yeah,
to get there and then 2 hours to get back. And it was something that always stuck with me. It was many years ago this,
yeah.
but it was something that always stuck with me, and I just love hearing people's stories, and then it motivates me to help them and to navigate that world of learning how to drive as quickly as possible and as safely as possible as
Yeah,
well. And I know that that person then went on, and I remember bumping into that person a couple of years ago, and they were just, it just changed their life, and that's
brilliant.
what it's all about. You asked the question at the start there, Scott, about why do you think we're one of the fastest driving
Sure.
growing driving schools? And it's stories like that. It's about helping people achieve their goals,
Yeah.
and that's the type of drive that we have. All our individual instructors, they have that drive. When we hear those stories, we just home down and focus on getting you through that test as soon as possible, and that's
It's
the type of thing that motivates us.
it's so much more than just a driving test. No, that's awesome. Like, I mean, I can see why that would motivate you and keep you at it and want to do it better. And what about you then, Peter? How long have you been in business for yourself? And what would you say has been your biggest learning in business?
Wow, what great question. Two parts to that. It's about 17 and a half years approximately I have
Sure.
been in this industry. What has my biggest learning from it? Was the
Yeah, what's
question?
your biggest learning in business?
My biggest learning. I think one of the biggest things that I've learned over time is discipline.
Okay.
Got to be disciplined in business. You will have, I don't like saying hard times, you will have challenging times, you'll have
Sure.
times where you're going to be growing as such and overcome obstacles. And you have to have that discipline. You have to put the work in. I think maybe I'm going to be a bit controversial here, but I believe that, I think that nowadays there's this element that if you put a bit of hard work in for a day,
Mm.
2 days, 3 days a week, a month, 2 months, that you should automatically have success. And for me, that's never been the case. It's been constant for 17 and a half years. I started my first job when I was in first year in school,
Yes.
doing working in a shop on a Saturday morning job.
Yeah.
And I've never stopped since that. I'm 42 now, and I haven't stopped since that. And it's about the discipline. And one of the great sayings that come to my mind when we talk about discipline is doing stuff that you hate
Mm.
like you love it. And
Yeah.
that's one of those things. So the biggest learning thing is discipline. Just because you've worked for maybe a month or 2 months, really flat out 13, 14 hour days, you have to keep going. You have to
Yeah.
keep pushing forward and it will come good, but you have to put the work in. It can be years and years and years. So discipline for me is something that's so important. And that's one of the biggest things that sort of learned about business and being in business. You have to have the discipline. You have to show up every single day.
And is there anything, Peter, in business you've had to learn the hard way?
I've definitely had, it's a great question. There's definitely many things that I have learned, and
Mhm.
I wouldn't say the hard way. I think that's the
Okay.
wrong mindset for thinking about business.
Sure.
I had some really great opportunities to
Okay.
learn a lot of things,
Yes, fair
is the
enough.
way
Yeah,
I
yeah,
would put
yeah,
it. And I learn from them, I adapt, I reevaluate, and then we move forward and we don't make those mistakes again. And
yeah,
that's the sort of attitude I believe you have to have in business. Yes, there will be challenging times, but they're just opportunities for growth. They're just opportunities to
yeah.
learn
So would
from
you
that
then,
situation.
in the 17 and a half years, is there anything that you would have done, knowing what you know now, is there anything you would have done differently?
Is there anything I would have done differently? Um, wow, it's a great question. Of course, there's small things definitely
Yeah.
that things that you maybe have done and haven't worked out. And I would say that learning how to pivot quicker.
Okay.
Okay. I've always been someone who's been driven, who's been focused, who has always thought about what's the next big idea. We
Yeah.
have a thing called NI Driving School videos. These videos were designed to help people learn how to drive with their parents
Okay.
or to help
Yeah.
people learn how to drive maybe with their instructor if they're doing one lesson a week. You can take these videos, you can download them onto your phone and you can take them out with your parents and learn
Sure.
how to do the maneuvers correctly. And it stops a lot of fights and arguments at the bar with
Yes.
parents saying, no,
I
this is the way
remember.
you do it.
I remember
Um,
those days.
yes, yes, absolutely. And we designed these videos and to help people learn quicker.
Yeah.
And there's things that I've done, they have been a success, but there has been other things that we have done in the past. And we ran competitions to give away free driving lessons, and we even give away a car at one point as well.
Right.
And some things didn't work, and definitely we have taken away, we have reevaluated, and we've learned from them. And it's just great opportunities. Again, with my mindset is to have that opportunity to have made a mistake,
Yeah.
quickly pivot and go
Yes.
in a different direction. Just because you make a mistake, that's fine.
Yeah.
Learn from it,
How you deal
and
with it?
then go do something different,
Yeah.
and try again. You gotta keep pushing forward. You gotta keep trying. So you do.
Awesome. So like it sounds like you guys are in really good shape. Fastest growing driving school in the country. I mean, what does the next 5 years look like, and what do you think the main challenges are moving forward?
Wow. The next 5 years, well, again, controversial thing to say, but domination, I want to be the biggest driving school, undoubtedly, undeniably, in the country. But
Sure.
that was always the goal, one of the goals that I used to write down every single morning. But it's not just being the biggest, it's about being the best. It's
Mm.
about being the best, delivering the best possible service. And that's where I'd like to see in the next 5 years that we deliver the best possible service in the best possible way. And I have a wee saying, it's about expansion, always in, always. So we want to
Okay.
be, that's my mindset. That's where I'd
Yeah.
like to think about in the next 5 years. I'd like to think that we continue to expand, we continue to bring our great service to everybody. For me, when we had started, and this goes back to when we started to where we're going in the next 5 years, when I was a driving instructor and it was just me,
Yeah.
it was about helping as many people as possible.
Sure. Of
But very quickly, I realized that I can only help so many people
course.
per year.
Yeah. Yeah.
So we needed to expand because we want to help more people. And again, that's the ethos that we'll take forward in the next 5 years. The bigger we can become, the more people we can help.
Which is right back to the start of this chat, whereas right at the people are right at the forefront for you guys.
They are indeed. It's always about the customer. It's about delivering real quality value
Yeah.
to
Yeah.
our customers.
So, Peter, if I could take you back in time, I always like to finish on this question. If I could take you back, speak to an 18-year-old Peter, what piece of advice would you give him?
I've got two pieces of advice for this
All
one.
right, you're allowed. We're going back in
Uh,
time, so we're allowed to give
we're
two.
going back in time. So back to the 18-year-old Peter, if I could go back, I would say keep doing what you're doing. Enjoy it. It
Yeah,
happens so quick. You're on the right tracks and just enjoy it.
yeah,
I spent, and again, this is something that I see a lot on social media. I spent a lot of my younger years building friendships. Okay.
mhm, yeah,
I worked in a entirely different industry. I was an interior designer. I worked in an
sure,
entirely different industry. And I spent years building relationships. I met my wife, we built a family, and I have some of the best quality friends. And a lot of time on social media, you see people saying that you should be working really hard in your 20s and so you can enjoy your 30s and your 40s. I would say the opposite. I'd say make sure to enjoy your younger years
yes,
and make sure to build those real relationships so you have real friends when it
yeah,
comes to being older, real people who are there to, they may not be necessarily in business friends, but they can
sure,
definitely be real proper relationships because that's so important when you're on the journey. And I would say to my younger self, just continue what you're doing. It's going to work out well.
yeah,
Keep pushing. Now,
it'll work out.
here's the second answer to that question
Okay, yeah, yeah,
that with hindsight is Peter, buy as many houses as possible, sell them before 2008,
yes, all
take
right.
all that money and invest it in Bitcoin, and you'll be the richest person in Northern Ireland, of course.
Well, if we ever find that time machine, I think I'll take your advice. But look, Peter, thank you so much for coming on. Genuinely enjoyed that chat. I love to see somebody who's taken something that could be described as it's just a very basic making somebody a driver, but you've taken it to another level and you're taking it to an elite level, and I think that's really exciting, and I have to applaud it. And I, again, appreciate you coming on and sharing that with us. So thank you.
Well, Scott, thank you so much for your time, and I hope this helps as many people as possible. Have
Thank
a,
you,
have a
mate.
great day, everybody.
Cheers.